You think you know video games? You don't know jack. Video game expertise is here. It's going to teach you everything you ever wanted to know for 2,000 video games. It's time for video game expertise.
The history of Sony. Originally, Sony was a manufacturer of various technological devices, such as Walkmans and TVs, things that were arguably useful, but kid stuff, not video games. But Sony did make components which Nintendo could use in developing their next awesome video game system. A 32-bit dynamo that would change the face of gaming. Sony wanted a piece of the action. They wanted to supply the parts, and Nintendo have the glory. A perfectly reasonable consideration for a low-level tech manufacturer who had dabbled in computers. Led by Ken Kutaragi, he had proposed his ultimate chip set and an idea of using CDs from their Walkmans or whatever. They were basically begging for money from Nintendo with this idea. And Nintendo President Yamauchi was not going to have this. CDs! Fuck them! Not let's just fuck them. Let's fuck them over. Let's tell them we're going to give them the stuff and then switch it out at the last second. Who's another shithole manufacturer? Philips? We'll have them do it. Nintendo President Yamauchi, 1994. He had done all sorts of things to help Miyamoto make his dream come true with the first video game. A partnership some have likened to Jesus Christ and the devil. Yamauchi met with Kutaragi and told him, "We're excited about your ideas." Then before he'd left the E3, that's the big video game conference, he announced right while he was standing looking at him that Nintendo was partnering with Philips. Kutaragi was decimated. He walked out of the room shaken and cried while Yamauchi laughed. Nintendo President Yamauchi, 1994. But as they celebrated, Kutaragi secretly clenched his fist. While they continued their announcement, he snuck backstage and stole Nintendo's tech for the 32-bit system. Miyamoto was furious. How dare they steal my precious technology that I've been working on! I will make them pay! We're not gonna just release a 32-bit system. They can have that garbage. We're gonna double it. We're gonna go 64 bits! Shigeru Miyamoto, 1994. And sure enough, that's just what they would do. But in the meantime, the 32-bit PlayStation was assembled in a haphazard manner and with Sony's ridiculous CD drive. But it was a video game console because they stole it from Nintendo. But what does every video game system need? Video games. What games would appear on Sony's system? Well, they started out with Ridge Racer! The sexy appeal of something that was created in the rave nightlife culture and racing streets would certainly bring in some fans. But Mario Kart already existed. It really couldn't compete. This wasn't gonna do it. Additionally, Sony's failed attempt to emulate Nintendo's D-pad resulted in thumb fatigue. They were a laughingstock. Look at those long boxes their games are in. Nobody wants those flimsy CDs. They want big, strong cartridges. And a racing game? We've already got Mario Kart and F-Zero. They're completely fucked. Shigeru Miyamoto 1994. Ken Kutaragi was sweating. He needed a hit game. And that's when a little lady walked in the door. Kutaragi's mouth dropped when he saw Lara Croft. That's right, Tomb Raider. He had to have it. It cost him an arm and a leg, but Lara Croft was his. And just like that, Sony exploded. Oh yeah! People couldn't keep their eyes off Lara Croft and their hands off the PlayStation. Suddenly, the big boys were coming in. Resident Evil, Metal Gear, Pac-Man, and more Tomb Raider. Overnight, Sony had become a success. And while the N64 did release and show much more power and awesomeness, Sony was now a part of the video game industry. Stay tuned for more video game expertise.